In today's video, I'll be talking about FyrePLUG Fire Pillows. Now, Fire Pillows have been around in the industry for a long time and they have caused a lot of pain across the years, but I'm going to show you how you can install them correctly, and they're still an effective way of fire stopping surface penetrations. So our FyrePLUG pillows now come in this lovely orange color for identification on site. They're a bag of fire-resistant cotton that is plugged with granular stone wool material. So they're a fantastic material for fire stopping. Just with every passive fire protection system, the products themselves aren't going to be fire rated. They're only fire rated if they're installed as a system the same way they've been tested. Which means you can't just grab a pillow and jam it anywhere you want. You need to grab the right size pillows and install them into the walls and floors they've been tested for with the services, the pipes and cables that they've been tested for to AS1530 Part 4 2014. For our FyrePLUG pillows, it's nice and easy. All you need to do is go into tfire.com.au, look up the technical manual. You'll also find fire test and assessment reports online. Look up and make sure what you're doing on site is reflected by what's been tested in the laboratory. Once you've done that, we can proceed to installation. For today's demonstration, we'll be pretending that this demonstration is a 2-hour fire-rated plasterboard wall. And the very first thing you need to do when you're installing penetrations into plasterboard walls is check that the framing requirements are done. So for FyrePLUG pillows, we need to frame the penetration with stud and track, and then line the penetration with the same amount of strips of plasterboard that are on the face of the wall. Once that's done, it'll protect the cavity in the wall and we can focus on the fire rating. Now, to estimate the amount of pillows you need, we can work out the amount of pillows per square meter. So this is a 450 by 400 millimeter opening.
Our large pillows need 125 pillows per square meter, and that tells me we need around 22 to 23 pillows.
The technical manual will tell you the pillows per square meter depending on if you're using the small, the medium, or the large pillows. In today's video, I'll be using the large pillows to close down the larger opening. It's the most economical way to do it. And then I'll be using the small pillows to pack in the tight gaps around some of the surfaces and make sure it's nice and tight. Now in this demonstration, I've got a cable tray with some large power cables. I've got a bare copper pipe and I've got a few smaller bundles of cables. So the very first thing I'm going to do is look up the technical manual and see what requirements we need to get these fire stopping pillows. FyrePLUG pillows are suitable for use with these services, so we're going to go ahead and start plugging up the penetration. When you start installing the FyrePLUG pillows, make sure that you're putting the 250mm length into the penetration. So I'll be stacking them like this today. The large pillows are 300 wide, which gives you a more economical pillow instead of using the small pillows to pack out the whole thing. We do have some cables that are loose on the side. We have tested cables right up against the edge of the penetration, so I'm just going to hold them to the side whilst I pack them in. One thing to look out for is that you've got at least 50mm of spacing between the surfaces. I don't think I've quite got that here, so I'm going to rework it and make sure that we've got correct separation. These pillows need to be packed in as tight as possible or it's not going to work. That's how we test them in the lab. That's how it has to be done on site. So I'm going to be putting in as many of these as possible, and any small gaps that are left, I'll be plugging them up with the small pillows. Alright, I think I fit in just as many large pillows as I can get. I'll grab the small ones and start filling up these gaps. Alright, at this point I'm pretty comfortable that we've plugged up all the gaps that we can with the pillows. They're in there nice and tight and I can't fit any more in there. The next step that you'll notice from the tech manual is to install FyreFLEX sealant along the interface where the surfaces exit the pillows. So that's what I'm going to do next. Now that we've installed our sealant on this side of the wall, we're going to go ahead and do it on the other side of the wall, and then we'll continue to seal up the rest of the surfaces as we go. So as you can see, installing the pillows is really a quick way to do some fire stopping. And unlike the other products you could use, you don't need any power tools or saws or drills. So very easy to install. But we're not done yet. The pillows will provide us the integrity of the fire. So they'll stop fire getting through this penetration, but they won't protect against heat transfer coming through the big metallic parts of these surfaces. So we're going to use our TWrap just like any other passive fire system, and we're going to wrap around these surfaces to prevent heat transfer, which can spread fires indirectly. So here's our TWrap. It's a 25mm thick foil encapsulated blanket. And before we wrap around the cable trays, we do need to pack out some of these gaps with loose TWrap infill material. Now what this does is stops any local pockets of air forming and getting really hot underneath the TWrap, so we get a nice uniform result. Once that's in place, we can put our TWrap in. So I've pre-cut this piece to the right length and foiled over the edges with foil tape, so it keeps the encapsulated material encapsulated. Okay, now I've got my TWrap. We're installed it to have a 50mm overlap, and we're going to strap it in place with stainless steel cable ties. Now these need to be a minimum of 4.6mm wide, 50mm in from each end, and at every 150mm centers between. And that means we'll be putting one in the center and two towards the edges. Now, as always with the cable ties and TWrap, we want them there nice and tight, so there's a bit of compression, but not too tight that they rip the foil wrap. So the cable tray is done, and we've done this on both sides of the wall. We also need to wrap the copper pipe. Now with these smaller cables, with our new testing for FyrePLUG pillows, we don't need to wrap these cable bundles. So they're small enough, the data, the comms, the fire alarm cables, in small enough bundles, don't need any additional wrapping on them, because there's not enough copper in there to pull the heat through the penetration. One of the misconceptions around these FyrePLUG pillows is you don't need to actually seal the perimeter with our pillows. There are other pillows on the market that might have to, but not these ones. So that's about it. Once you've done all this on one side, you repeat it on the other side of the wall, and that is how you install a compliant FyrePLUG pillow system. As always, thank you for sticking around. Feel free to follow us on our LinkedIn page, tfire.com.au, for our test reports and our technical manuals. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.